Okay, this is a tutorial on how to replace the Fusible link. This one has the trailer brake controller feed in it. It's got a lot of other things in there, but mainly this is because my trailer brake controller went out on the 3rd gen Tundra. I'm assuming this is the same for both hybrid and non-hybrid. This is a hybrid. The dealership told me that this was the issue. Of course, I've confirmed that. I can see it actually popped in there. And they wanted almost $800 to replace this fuse. I thought they were insane for just replacing something as simple as a fuse. Now I understand why. I still don't think it's worth $800, but I can understand why it's just not a walk in the park. So what I found out you had to do, at least what worked for me, is I removed the air box. It actually comes out pretty easy. You just unscrew this guy here, loosen up the tube, and then you pop off the airflow sensor. And it's not bolted down. It actually just pops right out. It's just on these like little ball end studs here with some rubber clips. Came right out. That wasn't bad. And then to get to this fuse box here, like, this is just insane to me that they would do something like this for something that you would assume that would pop quite often, because you're hooking up to trailers. Trailer brake wiring, as we all know, is not always the best. Something goes wrong, I'd imagine that this is going to pop quite a few times throughout the life of the truck, assuming you're towing quite often like I do. So I had to unbolt the box from the bottom. There's 4 13-millimeter bolts down here. And then I had to pop the bottom off of the fuse box. So this kind of sits like this underneath here. I'm not going to try and put it together now because it's a pain. But you have all these little clips all the way around on the bottom, all the way around. And you just got to take a flathead and kind of be gentle. Obviously, it's plastic. Jam it in there and get it to pop. And like, if you use the screwdriver to also like bite into that clip and push it down, it'll stay out just enough where you can get all these undone and pull the bottom out. It's not easy. I was able to do it relatively well without like damaging these clips or breaking them, but you can see they get a little chewed up. I'm assuming there's like a special tool for this, but with how tight it is, the only thing I can get was a flat blade screwdriver in there. And then, like, that's just not enough, exposing this bottom here. And I can see if I can get you a good view of it because it is tight in there. But you see that bolt right there? That is the bolt that goes through the blade right there. So you cannot remove this without taking that bolt out. Originally, I tried getting a 10-millimeter, so it's a 10-millimeter Phillips, so you can use either a box wrench or a Phillips screwdriver. There's no room to get a Phillips in there. So I tried using a 10-millimeter wrench, and there's just so little room that you could barely get it loose. But then after that, I tried like getting it where it was finger tight or finger loose, I guess you say, and loosen and back it out with my fingers. I could not get it. I struggled for a while. And then what I figured out you can do is this tray. There's clips. So like this whole fuse tray right here is clipped into the fuse box as a whole. You got a couple clips all the way around. Try and see if I can show you. See that clip there? Another clip over here. And there's a few just kind of surrounding it. And I popped those one at a time. And I was actually able to push the whole fuse tray down into the box more. So you can see how this is kind of, it's hard to see, but this is floating inside here right now. And I can move it independently. So this is sunk way down now, where I could actually get a Phillips screwdriver in from this side and actually back it out. And sure enough, as soon as I got that bolt out, it popped right out. I just put some vice grips on the top of this, gave it a little wiggle. Came right out, no problem. That is just ridiculous to replace a fuse that my goodness, I assume that this is going to happen again because that's just how trailers go. What I do know is for all my trailers, I am going to be putting a blade fuse on all of those on all the brakes, and I'm assuming probably the other wires that go to the trailer that supply power that could pop. So you see this one here that says towing brake 30 amp. I'm going to be putting like a 25 amp blade fuse on all of my trailers. So this doesn't happen again. At least I hope it doesn't happen again, because my word, this is insane. One thing that's confusing to me though, apart from just who the heck designed this, is you'll notice that that towing brake 30 amp is saying it's 2 squares down. So it's supposed to be the second fuse in the blade fuse, or in the fusible link. What's confusing is, at least in my scenario, you can see it's my third one that's popped. The second one appears to be okay. And I know this was a towing brake issue because I was towing with my trailer right here, and I was messing around with the trailer brake gain to try and make sure I had the proper amount of gain for how much weight I was pulling. And as I was doing that, I suddenly felt the brakes give out on the trailer, and then I got a warning on my dash saying trailer brake error, see dealer. And then the dealer diagnosed this for me. They said this was the issue here, this was bad, and they're right, but the fuse location is not lining up, at least with what's on here. So either this is incorrect and, you know, it's just swapped. But the other thing that's a little concerning to me is it's supposed to be 30 amp, then 40 amp. And at least looking at this, I mean, it's hard to tell. You can go by those wire thickness, but, you know, that's supposed to be 30 amp, and then this third one is supposed to be 40 amps. And at least, like, you know, the blade size down here, you're like, okay, maybe that's correct. So is this 40 amp fuse actually going to the trailer brakes, or what? I don't know. So that was a little worrying to me. So like what I think I was going to try and do is I was going to look at that try and find the wire for that third fuse, or sorry, second and third fuse in there, and trace it out. Because you can see there, it's these ones right here. So you have this black, blue, red, and there's some others underneath there. That's what's going to that blade fuse there. Oh, sorry, my mistake. It's this one down here. It's this black one, and then white, and then there's a bunch of others down under here that I can't get to right now, but I'm going to try and trace those out and make sure it is in fact going to the trailer brake controller or something else, because I think that'd just be good information to know, is just to at least make sure, you know, something else isn't going on here. If someone could leave in the comments, at least, like, I mean, I could Google it, but I'd just be curious, like, what is sub battery? Like, this truck has a subwoofer, so does that go to the subwoofer, or is a sub panel battery or something like that? I have no idea, but I'm going to try and trace it out and figure it out. So I hope this video is helpful for someone, because this is just ridiculous to replace a fuse. That's just bad engineering. I'm a mechanical engineer myself, so, you know, I'm not crazy smart. I'm not too smart, but I can tell you this is a terrible design. I don't think this was necessary. It could have just been a blade fuse. So there you go. Have fun.